everybody, welcome back to another video, and this is Velga the Observer, and I'm happy to announce that I am working on illustrations for a book. The book is actually a flash fiction piece, and this book is written by the author called Byron J, and you can actually get this book right now on Amazon and also Kindle Unlimited. If you're interested, go ahead and click one of these links that I'll be providing in the description below, depending on which one of these two that you're actually using. But anyway, for this video, I thought I will talk about the book itself and a little bit of the story and the characters with the author himself, Byron J, in an interview format. So go ahead and listen to this, and I'll also put up a video of me sketching a little bit of the characters that you will be seeing in this book itself. So here we go. Hope you enjoy this. Don't forget to like and subscribe and check this book out. And in cue the interview. Okay, everybody, here, let me introduce to you Byron here. And Byron, please introduce yourself for the people who have not heard about you before and what exactly it is that you do.
Hey, how's it going, Velga? Thank you for having me here today on your YouTube channel. So yes, my name is Byron J. That's the author name that I go by. I am an author located in Virginia here in the U.S., and I'm currently working on my debut novel, which will be called Knight and Burning Heir. But until we get there, I'll be giving a few different stories from the world of Through Night, our first one being Daniel's Interlude.
Right. So Daniel's Interlude itself, what exactly is Daniel's Interlude?
So Daniel's Interlude is a short story or flash fiction. Some people like to call it either one. But it's a small peek inside the world of Through Night, right? It's the first official look. And essentially in Daniel's Interlude, we have two individuals that are very much tied to one another. They are destined to separate. I'll leave it like that. And they have some very extreme external and internal things that they're trying to get through and overcome in order to have a successful future. I'll describe it like that for spoiler's sake.
All right. Okay, so I have another question here regarding Daniel's Interlude. Do you have any particular messages that you want to deliver to your readers? Or are there any particular themes or anything you'd like to communicate to your viewer?
So a little bit of a spoilers, but within the story, one of the many reasons I've explained the other two reasons why it's called Daniel's Interlude, but within his relationship, he reaches a point midway that he understands that there's always a good time to tell the truth, right? And there's always an opportunity for you to stand up for yourself. There's a paragraph in the middle where we talk about the planet and what it's going through, and while that can be taken on the surface, there is another meaning that his foundation itself has changed a little bit, right? He's committed some actions that he's not necessarily proud of, and he feels that the things he built himself on may be compromised. But even with that, even in that scenario, he can still stand up for himself and say what he believes to be right. And within that, another one of the themes of the story, with the technology that's in there, the technology forces them to work with one another. And it's a little bit on the nose, but it's reflective of like codependency, right? And sometimes when you're if you're in a codependent relationship, one of the parties, sometimes both, can feel that they are suppressed, right? Their personality is suppressed, what they want is suppressed, and it's just one of those things that can happen in a codependent relationship. So even with how he feels about his actions, even though a scenario where he understands that he has to work with her, right? He still I put that line in there, and every time I read it, I hope that it resonates with the reader as much as it resonates with me. where like it literally is like, I say he can still stand, and then immediately following that, I give him a line of dialogue where he says, "I felt free," he confessed. So yeah, those are some of the themes that, some of the themes that are in there, and I put myself in a few places within the story. I won't point them all out, but I'll allow the reader to, I meant for it to be read multiple times. So as the reader comes through and reads it, they'll pick up on some of the extra stuff and see some more of the meanings in there.
Right, so it's about that. Daniel himself seems like we will be, even though it's called Through Night, seems like we'll be able to relate to Daniel a lot.
Yes, absolutely. And it's just through all the media that I've written and not written, but that I've read, and other stories that I've seen in other forms of media. The complexities of an adult relationship. Yeah, there's a lot of material covering it, but there's just certain elements I haven't seen too much of. So I just wanted to shine some light on those things in a creative way, and that's a big part of what Daniel's Interlude is. It's shining a light on certain parts of a relationship, but in a creative way.
Okay, so Daniel's Interlude is actually an interlude to a larger story, yes? But why release the interlude alone instead of releasing the whole story?
So Daniel's Interlude, the use of interlude in the title has a dual meaning. The first, in terms of the story, is that Daniel himself, he's in an interlude of his life, right? He's in a midpoint, a very specific midpoint of his life. But also the story in itself, into where it lays in the overarching world of Through Night, it is somewhat of a middle point. Excuse me. And the reason that I decided to release this rather than the entire novel is that I've decided along the process of writing my debut novel that a lot of these stories, they can stand on their own. They can stand as individual pieces. That's why my debut novel is a mosaic novel. And I just have decided to share some of these individual pieces along the way to the debut novel to really allow people to enjoy these stories. And they are, being that they are parts of a larger novel, they won't be the size of a full-length novel, and just allowing people to get in there, have a very enjoyable experience, and to be able to do so in maybe a sitting or two or three, and it's very much conscious of people's time, and it's really just meant to be a nice story that you can read and sit down in a considerable amount of time and continue on with your day.
All right, that is very cool, because I actually myself have not read a mosaic novel before, and this is also the first time I've ever heard of one. And apparently a mosaic novel, and please do correct me if I'm wrong, a mosaic novel is a piece of a story where you can pick up pieces of the release in any order you'd like, and it would all still make sense. Am I right?
That you are absolutely correct. In writing this novel, I have wrote the individual pieces to stand on their own. They all have their own beginning, their own end. They have their own conflicts, their own characters. But as you combine them with one another, you start to see how they not only enrich the stories contained in each other's story, but they also start to build a world, an overarching world. And something like Daniel's Interlude has very, very small breadcrumbs to some other things in a larger novel that, reading on the first time through, you're kind of, the normal reader's probably going to, glide across those facts because they're not major parts of the story itself. But as they get more pieces from the world of Through Night, it will definitely enrich the second and third and fourth reading of Daniel's Interlude. So yes, you are correct that mosaic novel is comprised of a lot of smaller pieces that can stand on their own.
Okay, so I'd like to ask the next question. the world of Through Night itself, and this is the world name, well, not actually the name of the world, but your universe that you have built. You're calling it Through Night. And what can we expect in this world?
The world of Through Night. You can expect some of the same types of things that you expect from general sci-fi and fantasy. We've got harpies, we've got angels, we've got dragons, we've got vampires, we've got mystical worlds, we've got some a little bit of some Victorian style. I don't want to say true fantasy, but I'll say medieval fantasy. We've got a good mix of things in there.
Right.
In the world of Through Night. There's science fiction, as you've seen all these different suits that you've designed for me.
Yeah.
We've got a lot of interesting concepts in the world of Through Night. So we've got a lot in store, a lot of things too that I'm very excited to share with the general audience coming forth.
Right. And for those of you who don't know, we've actually been in the works for some time, and well, at least for the suits, there have been quite a few iterations of the suits, and I'm not using it for anything else at all. I'm keeping it for this story, for Through Night. And also, I really cannot wait to design even more things for you. And also, for Daniel's interlude itself, were there any inspirations, motivations for creating a fiction piece like this?
Well, Daniel's Interlude, I'll let you know a little secret. Daniel's Interlude, it was written earlier this year, and it was actually came from a class that I had at the Full Sail University. And one of the things they gave me was a prompt. They said, hey, you have to write a story where everything happens within the span of 1 hour. I said, okay, I'll definitely do that. And Daniel's Interlude is what I wrote. Now, other things from other general media that played into what I like to call it my muse box, right? Meaning, when I write things, there's certain things that I'll either be watching or listening to on the regular to really help my creative, to help me stay in a creative space. As far as visual media, Evangelion, Neo Genesis Evangelion was definitely an inspiration as far as the aesthetic. As you can look at the suits that Daniel and Sid have, they were very much inspired by Evangelion, not in their function, but in the overall look of it. I'd also say, in terms of just having action and sci-fi combined, Leviathan Wakes is actually one of my favorite books of all time. And as I read it, I said, wow, like I love that, just some of the almost realistic like science and a lot of the action that was in there. And when I was writing Daniel's Interlude, I very much wanted to really mend together sci-fi and action. It's music wise too, right? Like I said, this is my box of my muse box of things that I intake when I'm making stories. Daft Punk, man, they're almost their entire discography, everything from their album Discovery to their album Ram, and just really listening to a lot of that. When I was a young kid, there's an anime, well, I guess maybe it's an OVO. It was called Interstellar 5555, and it's essentially the visuals for Daft Punk's entire album called Discovery. I saw it in the early 2000s, maybe somewhere around 2004 or I think 2001, somewhere around that time frame. I was watching Adult Swim and I saw it come on there, and I thought it was, that was the same time I was being introduced to anime, and I thought it was just another anime, and that was the first time I ever heard Daft Punk. And I ended up buying that album a couple of years later, and I still play it to this day. So that's definitely one of those things that when I put it on, it helps me get inside the world of Daniel's Interlude. But as far as I can remember, because this was, like I said, this was something created back towards the beginning of the year, so those were some of the things I do remember being inspirations for me.
All right, and it's actually interesting how you mentioned Interstellar 5555 because until you mentioned it just now, I didn't look up the year it was released. I thought that anime was inspired by Daft Punk instead, instead of the other way around. Because it's
No, I think it was promotional material for their album. I believe so.
oh okay,
I think.
because it's been shown in one of their music videos. I don't remember which one. All right, so about Daniel's interlude, where can we find Daniel's interlude?
So for right now, and this is May of 2024. For the next 90 days, Dame's Interlude is exclusive on the Kindle Unlimited service as well as Amazon.com for purchase. After that 90 days, I will absolutely be looking at other platforms, a lot of the other platforms that people like to read things on. I can't remember all of them at this moment, but yes, we'll be moving to other platforms. But it is exclusive to Kindle Unlimited and Amazon.com.
All right, so for those of you who'd like to get Daniel's interlude, go ahead and log on to Amazon.com to get it, or also Kindle Unlimited. And up next from your company, End of Dreams. What can we expect next from End of Dreams?
So shameless plug. I would like to say my company's website is www.eodworks.com. That's where I keep a lot of information of what we're going to do going forth. But coming up this year, I hope to get it within this year. There will be another. Dane's Interlude is a smaller flash fiction piece. I'm definitely going to have a considerably larger story within the world of Through Night coming out. Hope to have that out in the summertime here, and probably directly following that, we should be probably working we'll be working on it at the same time. But we want to do a comic for Daniel's Interlude, a one-shot comic, and I'm coughing too, so I'm sorry about that.
Yeah, it's fine.
So we are working on the comic book coming up. Hopefully this year or the top of next year for Daniel's Interlude, a one-shot comic. I'm still chugging along at getting the script written out for that, and we'll start designing panels here soon. And like I feel any faithful adaptation should be, it should add something to the original material, and I've definitely got some significant things to add to the comic adaptation for Daniel's Interlude, and I'm very happy to, when I'll be able to share that with the world here, if not this year, the top of next year. So those are the two things on our to-do for this year.
All right, so about the comic itself, do you plan on expanding the story somewhat? Like elaborating more on things that are not seen, or actually not seen, elaborating on things that isn't actually mentioned in the book itself?
Yes. There'll definitely be some more elaborating going on. I've got an entire section to add on to what we have there to more enrich the story. Crossing over from a literary work to a visual medium, like a comic book.
Yeah, it's interesting because in a comic book, everybody sees things in a different way, and at least more things can be, sometimes a picture explain things better than a whole sentence. And I think visualizing things will be very interesting and elaborating the story even more, even though it's only a little part, bits and pieces everywhere, because even looking at a picture, people can interpret it differently. And okay, for those of you who would like to find Daniel's Interlude, the socials for End of Dreams, please go ahead and check these links. I'll put up pictures of it right here on the screen, and also clickable links down in the description box below. Please go ahead and click that and give it a visit, and give Daniel's Interlude a read, and let us know what you think. Byron here, thank you a lot for doing this interview with me today. I know you're quite under the weather, like I actually am too, but I really appreciate your time for doing this with me today. So thank you a lot.
Hey, Velga, I truly appreciate it. Hopefully we will. Hopefully we'll do this again in the future. And I say, man, I appreciate the great art. Keep it up. And we let's keep making great things together. I'm excited about the future.
Right, so that was it for my interview with Byron here, and we are actually in the works. Right, I can't actually tell you all that much about anything because what we've been working on, none of it is set in stone, but whatever illustrations you will be seeing in the book itself, like this, it's actually quite visual heavy. I've made quite a bunch for the amount of story that is actually in the book right now. I think the amount of illustrations included in this book itself is actually quite a lot. So I'm very happy to keep on working with Byron here because we are still in the concepting phase, and we talk a lot about the kind of characters that should be in the story, and in what sense you may wonder, it's like what kind of stuff they should be wearing, and what kind of colors they should be wearing, and what kind of face they should be making, and what are they like, and the amount of stuff that should include them, and what kind of pose they should be doing, what kind of possibly weapons or clothes, costumes they should be wearing, and what they should look like. And like I might draw something, and because Byron is not myself, right? Like I am my own brain, but we are two different people, and we don't always think that one thing looks good every single time to both of us. So I actually prefer coming up with a lot of concepts so I can keep on showing him all these different ideas that I have, so he can give me feedback, and we go with what's best from there. And then after that part, I then continue to making full illustrations. But anyway, like it's just a lot of work that we've been working on a lot. And if you're interested in this, please go ahead and visit Amazon.com or Kindle Unlimited. The links will be down in the descriptions below. Go ahead and click that, give it a visit, give the book a read, and stay tuned because there will be more coming from us, and there will be more art, there will be more story, and I'll be sure to tell you all about it on my YouTube channel as usual. And hope you enjoyed that. If you do, please go ahead and visit the links to these books itself and go ahead and give it a read. Don't forget to like and subscribe and comment down below. Let me know what you think. Also comment on Byron's socials. Let him know what you guys think about the book and what you'd like to see more of. And it'll be great feedback for us. It'll be helpful to us a great deal. And thanks a lot for watching. I'll be seeing you in the next video. Bye bye.